Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Good Game RC. Now, GGRC is a show where I basically cover a few news items from the week that's all related to games, but before we get into the news, we talk about what I've been playing this week. Now, as I covered last week, I've been playing a lot of Zelda still. This week, though, it's staved off a little bit. I've been busy with work and a few other things, and a couple other games have popped up that I've been wanting to check out because they've had updates applied to them. And to be honest, just to show it off, Zelda, don't forget, that's what we're playing here. Zelda has sort of, I would say a little bit of its magic has worn off. I would say that I'm still really into it. Once I get back into the game, it definitely absorbs me back into it. But it's getting to that point where I'm at like I would say, if I had to guess, because I don't have a specific hour number here, probably like in the 50s, I would say like maybe around the 55-hour mark in the game. It's starting to get to the point where, and I'm at the point in the game now where I'm about to fight Ganon. You know, I'm going to fight the main guy at the end here, and I have the choice between whether fighting him or going to find some more shrines in the game. And I'm at the point now where finding the shrines is, it's a little tough, because I found all of the really obvious ones. All the other ones are going to be ones that are, they either have a quest associated with them or they're in harder to reach places. So I need to either, commit my time to finding all the shrines, or at least a few of them before I go take out Ganon, or just go right for him. But I keep having this feeling that if I go and kill Ganon, I'm not really going to want to play the game anymore, and I really like what I'm doing in the world right now. So this week I've sort of been kind of taking a break to decide what I want to do with the game, but I am going to go back to it soon, probably this weekend, and figure out what I'm going to do. The other game that I am playing on the Switch, it might have distracted me a little bit this week, was the new Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are not excited about this game because this game has been out for a good 5 years now. Like, I actually have the original version of this on PC when it first came out. I liked it then, but the one thing I will say is that I remember the game being a lot harder than this version here. This version here, I played on Monday night. I think I played about an hour and a half of it, and I was able to finish it. I did 3 runs. I died the first 2, and the third one I was able to make it all the way to the end and beat the game for the first time. This includes when I bought the game 5 years ago and I played the original version. I felt like the game was a lot harder because on my third run, I finished it. And this is one of those games where you're meant to keep playing and playing and playing and keep finishing, because there's so many things to find and so many weird things to unlock and see. So it's definitely a game I'm going to come back to, but it kind of weirded me out a little bit that a game that I had a pretty hard time with 5 years ago, that the first night that I played it, I was able to finish it. I don't know. It's pretty strange. There are 2 other games that I got to play this week as well. Tuesday night, I got to check out Overwatch, and it's because they added in a brand new hero character named Orisa. Now, I was pretty excited to check this out, but what I failed to realize is that this was the release of a brand new hero, right? So that means that everybody else wants to play as her too. So I played through a few rounds of it, realized, oh wow, I'm not really going to be able to get a chance to check out Orisa because everybody else is playing her. So I played with her abilities through one of the single-player tutorial things, just to see what it was like playing as her, and that was what I did. Played a couple capture the flag rounds, checked her out in the tutorial, and left it at that. I'll come back to Overwatch in maybe a month or whatever once it's died down, so I can actually get a chance to play as her, because I really wanted to check out her abilities during combat, but I didn't get the chance to, so I was a little bit disappointed with that. Now, the last game that I played this week is one that I was actually not expecting at all, because I didn't know that they were working on it, but Rocket League, my game of the year for 2015, they added a brand new mode again, like another free mode. If you already own the game, you get this mode too, which is really cool. But it's called Drop Shot, and in Drop Shot, it's a little confusing at first if you didn't practice playing it or whatever, but I jumped right into a game because nothing in Rocket League has been complicated, but this is probably, next to the basketball version, might be the most complicated version of the game. And not that basketball was complicated, but it was just a lot more of a challenge. So with this, what happens is you have your blue team and orange team, just like you always do, but the last team to touch the ball colors the ball, and the ball has to hit the opponent's side, and if it does, while let's say for example you're the orange team, if you hit the ball turns orange and it hits on the blue side, it's almost sort of like volleyball where you're scoring points by hitting their floor. Now, when you hit their floor, all the tiles on the bottom are going to light up in a hex grid, kind of showing like, hey, these have been activated. Then the blue will hit it back to your side, whatever. You hit it again, make it orange. If blue is not able to keep it off of their floor and it hits the floor again, those hex tiles that lit up, those now open, almost showing like a big, hole in the floor. You can still drive over this floor, but the ball, if it happens to roll into this floor at any time, your team scores. And it's interesting because this has created games where I've seen people, almost artfully score on the other team, whether it be my team or guys on my team scoring for me. I've seen them artfully do it where they'll open up a panel and then they just hit the ball in a certain way and the ball just like bounces and goes right into this newly made hole. But it also creates that weird, unpredictable Rocket League feeling that you get with some of these games where the ball just randomly rolls in because the team hit it so hard, from one side, a team member on their team scored on their team, So there's a lot of fun to be had with this. I played this for probably a good 2 hours the other night when it came out, and I had a lot of fun with it. I think it's really cool, and I think it's a great addition to an already great game. So if you haven't checked out Drop Shot yet and you already own Rocket League, jump in, give it another shot, a drop shot, if you will, because it's a lot of fun. So that's what I've been playing this week. Let's jump into our first news item, which is our main news item, which is about For Honor. Now, For Honor is a game that I have showed off on GGRC before by playing the beta, and I thought it was pretty cool. It's a cool little game. But some news has cropped up this week that, and this involves microtransactions, so this is probably pissing a lot of people off. But in the game, you have the chance to unlock armor and weapons and everything. Customize your character a bit with look, but there's also attributes associated with some of these pieces of armor too. So in the game, you have the ability to unlock these, but you also have the ability to unlock these through microtransactions. And it turns out that there are so many items in the game that you will either pay $700, around $700 or so, to unlock all of them, or spend 2.5 years unlocking all of them. Now, you might say like, oh, 2.5 years, actually that's pretty cool. Like, if I really like this game, then I'll spend all that time trying to unlock stuff. But you gotta figure the 2.5 years isn't a perfect world. If, say, when you unlock a thing or level up or whatever it is, if you happen to unlock, each item that you need on your list each time an unlock comes up, then you'll get 2.5 years. I mean, realistically, odds aren't, they're not in your favor for that. That's not going to happen. That's not a thing that happens. You don't unlock the thing you need every single time something unlocks. I mean, it's gambling. It's not how it works. And then, if you don't want to go through the, 5 years, 7 years, how long it's actually going to take you to unlock everything, you can just pay up $700. Now, the developer has actually responded to this, and their reply was saying, hey, we never expected you to unlock everything in the game. Now, I can kind of see this from both perspectives, right? As a gamer, you want to get as much out of the game as you can. You pay $60 for it, and you're like, hey, or maybe you paid $100 for the special edition, whatever it is, you're all in on this game, right? So you pay your money for it, and you're like, I should be able to get every item that I want out of this. There shouldn't be any DLC. There shouldn't be microtransactions for the most part, but there are, right? These things exist. There are microtransactions, and there are games out there that are baited into getting you to spend money or getting you to spend a hell of a lot of time unlocking things. A game that I played this week that I was just talking about with a new hero, Overwatch. Overwatch is built this way. It's a little more fair, sure, but not that much. I mean, when you unlock the loot boxes in Overwatch, you're still unlocking random items. You're not actually unlocking the thing that you want. It's a random chance that you're actually going to get the skin or the the victory pose, whatever it is that you're going for. It's completely random. Who knows if you're going to get it? And even if you buy boxes through Blizzard's store to get these characters' poses and skins and stuff like that, there's no telling whether you're going to get the thing you want to get. It's all random. It's blind box. Now, For Honor, they have microtransactions and everything like that. I haven't really looked into the microtransactions, but the fact that you need to spend $700 to get all this stuff is crappy. But I can see the developer's point of view. They're kind of like, hey, you don't really need everything to enjoy this game, do you? I mean, it's like any other game. You don't, just because a company releases a crap load of DLC for the game, you don't really need all the DLC to enjoy it, do you? You can spend your $60 and enjoy what they gave you. Of course, there is going to be the occurrence where, a company releases a game and it doesn't feel finished, and then you download the DLC and you're like, wow, this kind of feels like it was supposed to be with the main game. But I feel like a lot of us as gamers, we become entitled to certain things, and I don't feel like it's necessary for us to want everything in our games. Like, if you spend $60 for a game, more power to you. If you want more out of it, hey, that's your prerogative. But there's a lot of games out there that cost $60 or less, and you get like a really good experience out of them, and you shouldn't really count the DLC as part of that experience, at least in my opinion. I don't know. But, this kind of cropped up with Zelda recently, too. The new Zelda game, people were pissed off that Nintendo had already announced that there was going to be a DLC pack for it, where I was kind of like, yeah, I mean, everybody's doing DLC packs now, right? But the weird part about it is that Nintendo promised that there would be, a story arc that's included with the second set of the DLC, and people were really mad that this wasn't included, but they haven't even played the game yet. I can tell you from personal experience that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, this game right here, is fully worth your $60. There is so much to do in it. If you like a game that has a lot of content, this is your game for $60. It's great. And chances are it's going to get cheaper as time goes on. So tacking on $20 for another story arc to it, who knows how big it's going to be, maybe it's not worth it or whatever, but it's really immature, premature to get mad about something that you don't even know about yet. Now, For Honor's a different scenario because you do know what you're getting out of it. But at the same time, do you really feel like you need all of this stuff in the game? I don't know that I do. I know personally for me, with another game that we played this week, Rocket League. Rocket League offers a ton of vehicles and offers a ton of unlocks in it, and you're not promised to get the doodly boppers and the hats that you're going to get for your car that you want, because that's all random drops as well. But do you get mad about it? Do you really honestly get mad at the game because you didn't get the St. Patrick's Day hat that you wanted last week? For me, I don't really care because I'm there to play the game. Are the hats fun? Yeah. Do I like some of them and really wish that I had some of them? Sure. But it doesn't ruin my experience of the game. Now, some of you playing For Honor might feel that way. You might be like, I really absolutely need this face mask that this one guy has. So I guess you just got to keep playing the game until you get that face mask, right? I don't know. Maybe on the For Honor developer side, maybe they need to develop something that makes it easier for you to maybe craft weapons or craft certain armor that you want the look of instead of just waiting on blind drops. I don't know. Again, it's one of those gray areas where I can see both sides. You don't need to spend $700 on a game. You don't need to. You got the game. Just enjoy it. Play the game. You bought the game to play the game. You didn't buy the game to, download, $700 worth of items for your character to use, So I don't know. It's a gray area. I can see both sides, but for me personally, it's not really that big of a deal. Last week's main story on GGRC was about Mass Effect Andromeda. Is it a big flop? Is it a mass flop? Well, as it turns out this week, that people are very back and forth on that. There's some people who say the game is fine, and there's a lot of people who say that the game is completely borked. So, what do you do in this situation? You have a game that comes from a almost like purebred stock, right? It's got a great trilogy of games that a lot of people enjoy. They consider best games of all time. Some people, I'm sure, feel that way. And you have a new sequel come out that's completely unrelated to the trilogy, but also sort of takes a nosedive in some ways. It's really hard to gauge, especially when the game comes out and everybody who plays it sort of talks about hey, these animations are bad, or some of the models look weird, or their eyes look weird. So then YouTube immediately crops up throughout the weekend a crap ton of videos showing off all of these models and the animations and stuff, and it exacerbates the situation. There might be a couple bugs, right? But these videos show off all of these problems that the game is having, pretty much inferring that it's throughout the whole game. It's rampant and it's in every crevice. But what that's one side of it. The other side of it is that I've been hearing from certain games journalists and listening to podcasts and stuff where people are saying that they've had issues with even quest log stuff. they don't like the clunky menus, and within the clunky menus, you go to your quest log, and the quest log is like either telling you didn't finish a quest that you finished, or there's NPCs showing up from later in the game that are popping up saying you already finished a quest that you never accepted in the first place, and just weird stuff like that. So when is it just animations that can be fixed later on, but then there's other problems with the actual coding of the game that are really messing up the your experience with the game? I don't know. From what I can gather, this game seems like it is a little bit of a flop. And I was very surprised to see that when the embargo lifted on reviews this week, that Mass Effect Andromeda received a 6 out of 10 from GameStop. I think that might be the lowest of like the big tier game journalist sites, but 6 out of 10, that's not good for a AAA title. You might say 6 out of 10 is good, it's good for a mediocre game, but Mass Effect is considered like cream of the crop, top tier AAA game. I mean, you can't get a 6 out of 10 on a Mass Effect title. That is quite awful. I was also a little tickled to see that they released the review for Mass Effect 6 out of 10, and then right after they released all these, I'm assuming paid-for interviews from EA, with members of the BioWare team talking about like how great Mass Effect is now, and this is what we did to make it great or whatever. So they have this review that's like 6 out of 10, could have been way better. There's all these problems and clunky things going on in the game, and then all of a sudden you have someone who's just like, when we approached the art in Mass Effect, we really wanted to do something special. And it's like, you got this balance scale going like, I don't know. I saw that and thought it was a little bit funny and kind of strange. But hey, you know what? I really hope that those of you who are playing Mass Effect, because I do have a friend who's playing it and said he's really, really enjoying it. And I hope that you're getting some fun out of it, because I really don't wish that anybody who's really looking forward to a new entry in their series of games, gets a game that they don't like, because that's always a bad feeling. So I hope that some of you are actually enjoying it. I really hope that the company gets in there and they're able to fix a lot of these issues, because it would be a really bad thing for Mass Effect to go out on a legacy like this. And of course, it wouldn't be a news show without a little bit of Nintendo Switch news, right? Especially at this time of the year, with the Switch having just come out and all of this controversy and stuff going on. It seems as though the left Joy-Con on the Nintendo Switch does have a problem. Or does it? I don't know. Nintendo has been very waffly on this. They've sort of come out and said, like, listen, there's no widespread thing going on with these Joy-Cons. But if there is an issue, you can call us and we'll figure out if there's an issue, and you can send it to us and we'll fix it. And then they come out and say, like, okay, there is an issue. We're still not offering a recall. You can call our number and we'll decide whether we're going to fix it for you or not. Pretty weird situation. I understand they don't want to, incite like a mass riot of like people sending out their left Joy-Cons or trying to return their Switches or giving Nintendo a bad name over this. Maybe this is the way they have to approach it to keep people interested in it. They have said that whatever the manufacturing defect was with the left Joy-Con, has now been fixed, so all new Switches that are coming out will not have this issue. So you can feel rest assured, you can be rest assured that going forward, if you get a Switch, there's not going to be a problem with the connectivity with the left Joy-Con. However, there was something interesting that cropped up, which was somebody sent in their Joy-Con to be fixed, and they actually took a picture of the inside of the Joy-Con. And, this was to sort of like get a before and after thing going. So they have a picture of it before, and when it was sent back to them, they have a picture of it after. And we'll bring it up on the screen here so you can check it out. But all it was a little foam square. That's it. Take a look at the before and after here. Little foam square down there in the corner. It's pretty funny, isn't it? That like a little foam square is like they need that there to keep interference hitting from the left Joy-Con. That's it. That was the defect. The defect was that they forgot to put a little piece of foam in there. Really silly if you ask me, and this is probably something that people aren't going to waste their time sending their Joy-Con into. I know a lot of people will probably just, well, maybe not a lot, but I'm sure some people will open up their own Joy-Con, put a little piece of foam in there, and go, here you go, did it myself. In other Nintendo news as well, the Splatoon 2 Global Testfire is going to be going live today. It starts today. So from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, let's see, today's the March 24th, so 24th, 25th, 26th. If you own a Switch, you can download the Splatoon 2 demo, or it's not really a demo, but the Splatoon 2 Global Testfire demo software thing. You can download that off of the eShop, and you can partake in playing some Splatoon 2. Now, please remember, do a search on Google, because I'm not going to post these times up here, but there are very particular times that they're running these. They're doing it 2 different times today, and I believe 3 different times Saturday and Sunday. So the demo is not just running. This is not just a test that you can just jump in at any time and play Splatoon. This is where you have to jump in at a specific time, play for about an hour, and that's it. So they did this before with the original Splatoon. I thought it was kind of weird. You think they would just do a beta weekend or something like that, but they don't. I don't know. I think it's a little strange approach. But if you are hankering to play some Splatoon 2, or at least to just see how the game works on your Switch, then this is going to be for you to check out, definitely. I know I'm going to be checking it out later today myself. And so for our last piece of news for the day, it's kind of nice to end on something heartwarming, isn't it? So I think we might make this a thing. But our last piece of news is something heartwarming here, which is that Gamers Outreach, which is I guess it's a foundation that is focusing on getting games to kids. What they did was they created these things called go-karts, and they're Gamers Outreach carts, so go-karts. And what they're doing is they're putting game consoles on these carts that can be wheeled around children's hospitals for kids to play. So the news is today that they were able to put 10 of these in the Seattle Children's Hospital. And I think that's awesome. I think that's so cool that they were able to, help these kids out, distract them from the things that are going on in their lives when they're not feeling too well, and let them play a little bit of Minecraft or something like that, take their minds off of it. So when I saw that, I was just like, this is so cool that they're doing that. So they've actually put in, I have the stats here, but they put in 36 go-karts in 19 different hospitals across the country. So it sounds like they're still pretty new to all this and have been doing this for the past year or so. But their goal is to get these go-karts in every children's hospital across the country. And I think that's a great goal to have. And I think this is definitely something I'm going to go forward and support because, I love games. I love my memories of playing games as a kid. And the fact that you have children who are, going through these terrible things at hospitals and everything, the fact that they can get a little bit of solace and have a lot of fun playing a little bit of Minecraft or Halo or whatever it is they're playing on these go-karts or whatever, the fact that they can get a little bit of happiness out of that, I think that is really touching. So, I will say, like, hey, everybody at Gamers Outreach, I salute you on that. I think that's great. So there you go, everybody. That is GGRC for this week. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next week for another edition of GGRC. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to check out some of the other GGRC episodes. And if you're feeling a little retro, why not jump into the Quake Grave, where you can watch me play through a lot of different custom maps in Quake. Enjoy!